Everyone, it's Cam from Lancaster Golf Performance. Just want to say thanks so much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for following along in the journey. If you have any more questions about online lessons, we'd definitely love to answer them. So today we're going to talk about practice habits. I think it's something that's not often talked enough about, and there's usually a lot of I think a lot of poor information out there on how to practice. I'm a firm believer that you can go and take a lesson, you can have the right amount of hours to practice, and you can easily get worse, right? It's just golf is a finicky game that way, where you need to have the right methods to actually see progress, right? So in the next clip here, I'm going to take you through how I would actually practice, where there's going to be two different ways that I practice, right? So technical practice, right? Like that's an important part to obviously getting better, is practicing your technique. And I think there's an extremely wrong way to do it and an extremely great way to do it. To me, the wrong way is actually going to the driving range and trying to practice your technique. Because at the end of the day, we're a prisoner to the golf ball, right? Meaning when you have that golf ball in front of you, you're trying to hit it, you're most likely really trying to force the ball towards the target, especially with new technique. And that can really limit your creativity. You want to create the move that you're looking to create, right? So to me, like the way I've always seen a lot of improvement in my own game, and I've been someone who was never really a naturally talented golfer. For a few years ago, I was a 3 handicap. And for the amount of time I've put into my game, I should probably be a lot better. I've gotten down myself to a +4 handicap. And a lot of it has been being very strategic and smart, but the practice habits that I have. So the best thing I've done for my swing is get a little net set up at home and then just practice it into a net where there's no connection to my ball flight, just purely contact. And I can get really creative with the movement, and every swing I'll put it on video. I'm going to analyze every shot that I have, and then I'm going to go inside in front of a mirror and maybe drill it 100 times in front of the mirror, right? So taking a quote from what Hal Sutton said a few years back on Twitter. If you don't know who Hal Sutton is, former PGA champion, beat Tiger Woods at the Players Championship, a pretty elite ball striker, one of the straightest guys of all time. And he had said that, he probably hit 1 million balls in his career. And if he could have hit 500,000 of those as just practice swings, air swings, where you're not actually, not actually trying to hit a ball, then that can really unlock a motor pattern for you, right? So that's the technical practice. So like, let's say for instance, I'm trying to practice more wrist bow, right? In my practice swings here, let's imagine that the camera is my mirror. I'm gonna look into the mirror and really over exaggerate the feel of getting that bow wrist, and then hold it to the top and really overdo it to the end range of my motion as much as I possibly can. Let's say I'm here in my actual swing and I'm trying to get to here. I want to feel it way over here to get it there, right? So that's another thing with technical practice, is that you have to over exaggerate. If you're not over exaggerating, then you're not doing it right. And you also have to feel it early, right? Like if I want to bow my wrist down at impact or P7, I want to feel it down around P5 or even in the top position, right? So that's kind of the part about technical practice. I want you to do it into a net, into a mirror, and then maybe at the start of your session on the actual driving range, you can, and this to me is a smart way to practice on the driving range, is do 2 really technical swings, as much technique as you possibly can, and then just hit one and try and feel what you just did, right? So have no thoughts, just 2 really over exaggerated swing feels. So I would do it like this. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to feel that bowed wrist right there. I'm gonna go to the top, really bow it, and then hold it. Go to the top, bow it, and then hold it. And I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna say to myself, just feel what you just did right there. And I'm just gonna repeat that process over and over and over again, right? I'm also gonna cycle through a club that I really love to hit and a club that I hate to hit, right? So for me, I've always been really good with a 9-iron and really poor with a 4-iron historically with my game. So I would take just my 9-iron and 4-iron to the driving range and repeat that process over and over and over again. So go 9-iron, 4-iron, 9-iron, 4-iron. That's another type of practice that I would do if someone's in a really bad rut. Let's say their driver is flip-flop practice. And it's more of a tempo drill, right? So, if you can really get the same feeling of your tempo with your 9-iron and your 4-iron, let's say your best club and your worst club, then that's where the swing can really start to sync up. Like I really don't believe that, when I hear someone say, oh, my 7-iron is my favorite club and I hate my 6-iron. To me, it's more of a mental issue that you've created in your mind. And if you can start to mentally feel like they're the same club, then, and actually have a practice habit that sustains it, then to me, that's gold. Now, let's talk about the next style of practice. And just to end off, I'm gonna show you my swing a couple times doing this drill here. And this is how I would practice if I'm going out to play in a tournament, right? So, this is my first year of playing in some professional events, and what I did as my warm-up, and it really got my ball striking to a good point before I went and played in these events, even though I was super nervous, I felt like very warmed up on the first tee. And for me, usually the first tee is where I will feel the most amount of nerves. I think anyone really feels the most amount of nerves when they hit that first tee shot. Is I would basically play holes virtually in my mind. So I'm picking like 2 grid lines out on the driving range, and there's my fairway. I hit a drive, and I'm going to pick a pin out there on the right, and then hit a 9-iron to it, feel like I'm hitting my second shot. And I'm playing about anywhere from 6 to 9 holes in my warm-up before I'm actually going to play. So I'm getting to the first hole, and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm actually warmed up. I feel like I'm playing my 7th or 10th hole of the day, right? So there's your technical practice, and there's your randomized practice. The technical practice you want to do a lot more in the off season when there's no golf to play, and then the more randomized practice you want to do when you're actually in season, right? Even randomized practice you can do around the putting green. I never see this done, but I was lucky to see guys like Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes growing up. I played in a lot of the same tournaments that I would play in, and they'd be in their Team Canada group, and a lot of those guys would just do up and down challenges as their practice, right? So grab a ball, grab a putter, grab a wedge, grab your favorite wedge. You're only one wedge, and basically every hole's a par 2, and you're just trying to make a 2 on every hole. If you can, in 18 holes, if you can score +6 or better, then you're pretty elite, right? So set a goal for yourself, and then you can pin yourself to yourself, what you did in the previous day, right? So again, if we could look at how to improve your game most efficiently, get a lesson where you're really focusing on good technique, and then appropriate the right amount of time to practice and maybe play a little bit less, and then have these kind of practice habits where it can support your technical and your scoring skills. Best of luck. Thanks a lot for listening.